motion to reconvene. Motion by Mr. Gallo, second by Dr. Morthy. Okay. So we have completed our review and discussion, and I would like to entertain a nomination to fill vacancy. Mr. Drigowitz.
I would like to nominate Brett Copeland, position of Board of Education member, replacement, one-year term.
Thank you. I'll second it. Second by Mr. Kuzmarski. Mr. Bleeker, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Kuzmarski?
Yes.
Ms. Conoco?
Yes.
Dr. Morthy?
Yes.
Mr. Wendrikowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Saccone?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
And Ms. Barrett?
Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Copeland. There he is.
Copland.
If we can have you up to the microphone so Mr. Bleeker can swear you in. While we're getting that together, I'd like to thank all the other candidates, the folks who came out and put your name in the hat. You know, we appreciate it. I know our community appreciates it. To have 6 people come out for one position is really a phenomenal thing, and we thank you very much for coming out.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I would just like to add that I hope that the remaining 5 of you would consider running for our next election, because we were impressed with all of you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Linda.
I was going to say the same thing.
But you didn't.
Okay, Mr. Cobble.
If you would please read the oath.
I, Brett Copeland, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and the state, under the authority of the people, so help me God. I, Brett Copeland, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19:4-1, nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A:12-1, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Where was the spread? I'm getting around back to city.
And I'm going to ask Mr. Bleeker to please do a roll call of our new Board of Education.
Yes. Okay, of the newly organized board, Mr. Kuzmarski.
Here.
Ms. Conoco.
Here.
Dr. Morthy.
Here.
Mr. Wendrikowitz.
Yes.
Ms. Saccone.
Here.
Mr. De Silva.
Here.
Mr. Gallo.
Here.
Mr. Copland.
Here.
And Ms. Barrett.
Here.
Thank you very much. Number 11 is motion to recess to executive session, which we do not need this evening. Let's see. So agenda questions. Please limit your questions at this time to resolutions under new business on this agenda. As a matter of fairness, you're asked to limit your questions to no more than 1 and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you're here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you're here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Please specify the resolution you're referring to in your question. And I'll entertain a motion to open to the public. Mr. Kuzmarski, second by Ms. Conoco. We are open to the public at 7:34.
I actually have 2, I'll save the next one. Under, I think it's 23N, but there's a few of them. There's a mention of the security vestibule. vestibule. Can you just tell me a little bit about that? It doesn't look like it's for all schools, but it looks like it's for quite a few.
Yeah, it is,
Okay.
and that's a real good question. And we had to bring our architect in to do that. We currently have the lobby guard system at the high school at JK and at Lenape. We have them only at those three schools because they have that security vestibule, that two set of double doors, so it made it a lot easier. It's a little bit more difficult in the other three buildings to do because they don't have that security vestibule in place. So we're gonna work along with the architect to determine the best way to configure those schools so that we can also place the lobby guard in there as well.
Okay, but it looks like it looks like it's for the schools that do have that already. That's why I was asking, because it looks like a security vestibule is looking at for Lenape.
What's the number if you?
JK, yeah, it's 23, it starts with N, but then there's.
20 N, O, and P.
Yeah,
She's correct.
exactly. Yeah.
We do have those.
Okay, then I need some help here.
The reason for that resolution is to complete the process of the application that we need to file with the Department of Education.
Okay.
So this resolution tonight helps us to complete that file. It also allows us to move forward with the one piece that we haven't put in place yet, which is a divider between the two entrances, to have a division between those that are entering, that have a swipe card, and those that are entering purely as a visitor.
Okay.
So it's to complete the application so we can finish that
My
process.
mistake, I'm sorry.
And the other part to that is it has to be, those expenditures have to be on the long-range facilities plan, and that's the resolution under each of those.
Okay.
However, we are working with the architect on the security vestibule.
And 23S is the other part of it.
To that point,
Yeah.
Joyce Kilmer, they need a light up there, because when you hold your license is there, they can't see you, it's just almost dark in that vestibule, there should be a light right overhead, coming down on that person. Because I've gone through that, and I looked at myself, I said, where am I? And additional light would help there. That's all.
Evelyn Slocco, 43 Thunderhead Place. I had a question about 23T. Can you describe what utilizing a person-centered approach to improve IEP meetings means?
Lisa?
Sure, yes. It's actually a Department of Ed initiative in the state of New Jersey in which students are leading their own IEP meetings and are the focus of the conversation. So they chair their own IEP meetings and lead the discussion regarding their own education.
Okay, great, thank you. And I just wanted to briefly mention that about the retirements. I wish them all well, Mrs. Gannon, Mr. Gordon, and I'm gonna hash up the last name.
Alessino.
Alessino, because none of my children had him, but I just want to say that it's very heartbreaking to me to lose Mr. Gordon, because the woodshop program at the high school is excellent, top notch, and I'm hoping it continues that way. Thank you.
We hope so as
Thank
well.
you.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, I'll entertain a motion to close to the public, please. Mr. Gallo, second by our president, Ms. Barron. And we are closed to the
Seated to my
public.
right.
We're closed to the public at 7:38. And do we have a superintendent's report today?
We do, but real short and sweet, and I want to echo what Ms. Saccone had said. I want to thank all of our parents and community members who came out. It was said during a couple of the interviews that the tasks of the board, policy certainly being one of them, and buildings and grounds. But an important task of the board is to work with me very closely. And I would have been proud to have had the opportunity to work with any one of you. So that is my report. Thank you.
Mr. Bleeker, you report for us?
Yes. With regards to the STEAM edition, we're continuing to make some good progress on the edition despite some setbacks with the weather. There's work continuing to go on the interior of the building as well as some of the interior bathrooms that are going to be part of the project. We're completing some of the block work on the last section so we can finish putting the roof decking material on. And after that roof decking is completed, the actual physical roof can go on as well. That's slated to begin by the end of the month. From Mahwah Rec, just a thank you for working with the district as we had to relocate a few things when we had to do unanticipated repairs to the high school gym. So thanks to the rec for working with us as we had to readjust some schedules last week. And lastly, for the audit, one of the items on the agenda tonight is the acceptance of the June 30th, 2018 audit. Just a thank you to everyone in the district that plays a part in that process. For those that don't know, the audit is more than just a review of the financials. It's also a review of our maintenance of records and compliance with state reporting across a variety of different areas. It's a team effort in many ways, and I thank everybody in the district that participated in it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fair?
Sure. As Mrs. Slockbauer already highlighted for us, we have 3 retirements announced on this evening's agenda. 24A, Dan Gordon. For the past 16 years, Mr. Gordon has been the bedrock of the Industrial Arts program. Mr. Gordon's ability to combine his patience, artistic brilliance, and his unwavering concern for the success of his students has enabled him to help establish one of the best woods programs in all of Bergen County, if not the state of New Jersey. To watch Mr. Gordon teach his love for woodworking is truly an opportunity to watch a master craftsman pass along his vast knowledge to the next generation of artists. For every student and colleague that has had the pleasure of knowing Mr. Gordon, his presence will be sorely missed in the Mahwah community. Mr. Gordon is also working with us on his replacement, so the program's not going anywhere. 24B, Mr. Steve Alessino. He's been in education for 33 years and in the Mahwah School District for the past 23. During his tenure in Mahwah, Mr. Alessino has had a tremendous impact on his students and the school district, teaching various grade levels and English courses through the years. In fact, he created the Film as Literature elective course in order to blend his loves of film, literature, and teaching, a course that is still a popular program at the high school today. Mr. Alessino loves his students and is passionate about literature, in particular the Harlem Renaissance, To Kill a Mockingbird, and all things Shakespeare. The true testament of how much he loves his students is the fact that he volunteered for lunch duty for years, simply because he loved socializing with the students and getting to know them outside of the classroom. Mr. Alessino has been a true asset to the district, and he will be sorely missed as well. Our last retirement is Miss Gannon, who is an instructional paraprofessional. She's currently working at Joyce Kilmer, but she's been in a variety of other buildings. She's always willing to lend a helping hand. For years, Miss Gannon assisted with early morning 0 period, which is really early, assisting our music program. She is considered generous, patient, and understanding with the students that she works with. She has worked with students who present challenging behaviors and does so with finesse. She will be missed as a long-standing part of our paraprofessional community, and we wish her nothing but the best in her retirement. Thank you.
Before we move on to President's report, Dr. Schoen.
Yeah, if I may, one additional retirement that I'd like to make mention of, and that is the Chief of Police, James Vitelli. And I know that many of us have read about it in the paper and certainly heard about it in town. I know he's had a career of 41 years. I've had the pleasure of working with him for 6 years. I know that he has served our community as well as he has served our school community. He is a partner in every sense of the word. Kids come first, and you expect that of educators. You love it when it comes from a police department and from a chief, but when it really does, and you know it by actions, not just words, we have been blessed. And this community has been blessed because of his leadership, and I am definitely a better superintendent as a result of his partnership in regard to safety, student safety, school safety. He's just given me a better understanding. So he too, like our staff members, will be sorely missed. Wanted to thank him publicly.
Ms. Barron, do we have a President's report?
Yes. I have Northern District Conference at Ramapo College took place, and Thunderbirds Jessica Crean, Benjamin Gaipa, Bobby Kirstenstein, and Stephanie Lane and Isabella Marina qualified for a seat to compete at the DECA State Competition in Atlantic City this March. So way to go DECA team, very impressed. And I just also want to let everyone know that tickets are on sale now for The Little Mermaid. That's coming to Mahwah. So you can go online to the website and look that up and get your tickets because they're selling like hotcakes. Thank you very much. That's my report for this evening.
Do we have any board committee reports?
Just a brief report from negotiations. We had our third session with the MEA this past Wednesday, and our discussions continue to be constructive and cordial and productive towards mutual goals.
From instruction and curriculum. I just want to highlight 2 new courses that are going to be offered next year that we got some information about. One is related to the T3 building. It's going to be called T3 Innovations and Inventions. It's a full year course. It's going to be a project-based course with a focus on problem solving through the use of the engineering process, as well as integration of artistic presentation in planning and development of student projects. So that was one, and the other one that was spoken about was biotech engineering, which is going to be a semester course, and that's going to be dealing with microbiology, human genetics, biochemical, biological engineering. I think the importance is to know that not only is a building being built, but the curriculum is supporting what we're building, and I think that and teachers are excited, they want to write curriculum, and that's the exciting part of it. The other thing I wanted to highlight is the, again, professional development going on in our teachers and with our teacher community. A lot of teacher-driven professional development, teacher-led, and teacher choice. So again, very much Mr. DeToro spoke about how, again, teachers are very excited, they're presenting to each other, and I think, again, it creates a very exciting time in our district.
And the links that Dr. DeToro shared with us.
Yeah, oh, yes. Yeah, oh, thank you, Mike.
Internal
Thank you, Mr. Gala. About making did you want to speak to it, Dr. DeToro? All right, about the curriculum page on the website, making it more interactive and informative. And another piece is how do we integrate technology through various subject areas. So there's going to be a little more about not just, hey, technology and the sciences, how do you integrate it in English, how do you integrate it in topics that you wouldn't think of. So these are going to be available to teachers so that they have, again, a lot of information and things online. So again, tremendous work that Dr. DeToro is doing with the team and that the teachers are very excited about. So thank you very much.
Anyone else?
One other thing I'd like to add. I just want to let everyone know on February 20th, there's going to be a Parent Academy presentation, what every sports parent needs to know. It's going to be presented by WFAN 660's Rick Wolf. I believe it's at the high school? I think it's the high school, yes. So I think that it's something that every sports parent, and even parents that don't have kids involved in sports, I think it would be something for them to attend.
Encourage every parent with
Excellent.
sports-aged children to attend, please.
I know exactly what's going to be spoken about, and I concur with Mr. Kuzmarski that I encourage every youth sports parent to show up. Yeah, it's going to be a great presentation.
As far as committee relations, I presented paperwork pending board approval to attend a conference sponsored by the New Jersey School Board Association in 3 different locations. I'm going to choose the one closest, dealing with effective communication. It's going to be on March 22nd or 23rd. I think it'll be worthwhile. Some pretty top guns there.
Any committee reports? Board member remarks or additional comments on reports or other non-agenda items? Peter.
On February 4th, I attended the Passaic County school boards, and the topic was school safety and security. And they had they had the guy named was Dr. Gambino, who's with the New Jersey Department of Education. They had the detective there who was their SRO officer. They had her captain there, and they had a fellow by the name of Dennis Duhan. I'm not Irish, only half Irish. He was the local prosecutor. It was I was very proud to be able to present our school district in a really good light as far as school security. They kept looking for the cheapest way to have security. And they're going back and forth, that's too expensive, can't do that. I said the first step is to establish a good working relationship with your local police department. lights went on in their heads, like they didn't know this was possible. I didn't go into too much detail as to what we were doing, because that's not their business. They can find out, they call it superintendent. Well, the other thing is, as some of you know, I attend HSO meetings just to listen and take back anything they have a concern with. And George Washington has been talking about this for 2 or 3 months now, before that actually. They've called you, they've called Scott, I think they've talked to Scott Vandermark when he was here. They're concerned about the playground service. Now, my question to finance, are we at that point yet where it can be seriously considered and possibly included for next year?
It's on our radar, and we are deferring most of the capital investment decisions until Dr. Schoen finishes her capital planning goal for this year.
When you said on your radar, I sort of smiled because I've been trying to call Josh Gottheimer, and all I get back with, you're on the radar, you're still on the radar. But yes, I hope that we do consider it.
We're
because
aware of the issue.
Parents are really concerned. And finally, Dan Gordon. He's only been here 16 years, but he did have a fantastic imprint on the school district. My son Scott, the Marine, loved him, respected the man. In fact, when he went off to boot camp, he and Gordon still corresponded. Gordon sent him a gift, which my wife didn't tell what it was, I forget what it was, some woodworking project. But because of Gordon, my son really had developed a love of woodworking. He lives in Vermont now and loves it up there. It's almost living off the grid, but almost. So he will be sorely missed. I know when I tell my son, he'll be crushed. But he's a good man. Sorry to have lost him. Thank you.
Anyone else? I just want to real quick echo Dr. Schoen's sentiments, recognizing Chief Vitelli. I had the opportunity to work with the chief and some of his officers when we were going through and continue to go through security matters, and really got a flavor of, like Peter said, what a great relationship the district has with the school, or with the police department, and through those conversations, how really good I feel about safety here, and how, our ducks are really in a row in that respect, and the chief obviously has really taken the lead on that, and I'm looking forward to working with whomever replaces him, and I'm sure the same focus will be there. May I have a motion for 22A, old business minutes from the last meeting? Mr. Wondrikowitz, second by Dr. Morphy. Mr. Bleeker?
Mr. Kizmarsky.
Yes.
Ms. Conoco.
Abstain.
Dr. Morphy.
Yes.
Mr. Wondrikowitz.
Yes.
Ms. Saccone.
Yes.
Mr. De Silva.
Yes.
Mr. Gallo.
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Abstain?
And Ms. Barron.
Abstain.
And I'll entertain a motion on 23A through U, please. Mr. Wondrikowitz, second by Mr. Gallo. Mr. Bleeker?
Mr. Kizmarsky.
Yes.
Ms. Conoco.
Yes.
Dr. Morphy.
Yes.
Mr. Wondrikowitz.
Yes.
Ms. Saccone.
Yes.
Mr. De Silva.
Yes.
Mr. Gallo.
Yes.
Mr.
Except
Copeland.
I'm abstaining on check number 093947.
Been a while.
Things to do.
Mr. Copeland.
Abstain.
And Ms. Barron.
Yes. Oh, no, sorry, I thought abstain. Oh, no, yes, I'm sorry.
Three there.
You just can't make this up.
You know, when you get older.
Are you sure?
Ms. Barron
Oh, my gosh,
for
which one I'm hearing now?
Final answer.
We're hearing now, yes, okay.
items
Good to go,
23A
good
through
to
U.
go. I'm-
She said yes.
It's gone.
Yes, yes. She's still there.
I'd like to entertain a motion on 24A through P, please.
Oh, my gosh.
By Ms. Conoco, second by Mr. Kizmarsky. Any questions, comments?
I just,
Oh, go ahead. Sure? Okay, yeah, go.
Are you
we're gonna talk at the same time. No, I just wanted to highlight, again, I didn't know all of these teachers personally, but, the number of years in district is truly phenomenal, I mean, amazing, and the fact that we've retained and kept such good quality professionals, and I think it certainly speaks to our district. So I just wanted to say that.
I just
Maybe
wanted to-
just Ms. Barron's gonna say the same.
No, I don't know the other people, but I do know Mr. Olisino. My son had him, and I do have to say that he's a patient teacher. He was a supportive teacher. He was very open for me to talk to him about any situations we were having regarding my son. So he's going to be sorely missed. He was strict, but I think that some kids really like that, and so I'm sure that he will be missed.
And just to echo Mr. Gordon's, so every June, the high school sponsors the district-wide art and crafts show, and the woodworking department is featured. And for the last number of years, every year, the quality and complexity of the woodworking projects that our students have undertaken is improved dramatically. We made some investments in equipment there, but it's really Dan Gordon and the other gentleman who retired last year. We have a new person there this year. They've done a remarkable job in keeping that sort of hands-on education alive in our district, and it's so important for, and a whole variety of students take those classes. You know, our AP student kids, our college prep kids take those classes, and they do remarkable work over there, especially the sequencing of the classes, from sort of making the Adirondack chair up to the inlay work that they do in their senior work is really quite remarkable. And just plugging again, usually the first weekend in June, Friday in June, is the Arts Fest.
Anyone else? Mr. Bleeker?
Mr. Kazmarski?
Yes.
Ms. Conica?
Yes.
Dr. Morphy?
Yes.
Mr. Windrikowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Acone?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Mr. Copland?
Abstain?
And Ms. Barron?
Yes.
Public questions or comments. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. I'd like to entertain a motion to open to the public, please. Ms. Barron, second by Dr. Morphy. We are open to the public at 7:57.
Yeah, Evelyn Slonberg, 43 Thunderhead Place. Any updates on the parking lot at the high school? Any information as to where it stands at the town council, or no information?
It has not been on their agenda since December.
Okay, and we don't know how it's going to proceed?
That's the council's
Town
job.
council.
Okay. The curtain wall for the media center at the Mahwah High School, it was on the last agenda. Unfortunately, I had a conflict, so I couldn't entertain you with my questions.
But you're here now.
Yes.
We missed you.
So when
You're
is?
referring to the roof over the high school
The windows.
library.
No, the
The
windows.
windows.
The windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The glass,
I call it
it's
roof.
called the curtain wall.
Yes.
Come on,
Mike,
Mr. Gallo.
Really?
Jan-
Whatever Henry Schein calls it.
So I guess, when is the construction on that planned for?
Kyle and Jim.
What time frame?
We just awarded it at the last meeting.
Right.
We have a pre-construction meeting with the contractor scheduled for next week. So once we meet with him next week, our architect, myself, Mr. Romero, our village ground supervisor, we'll be able to have a firm timeline for when events are gonna happen. Because of the nature of what's going on, there's gonna be some pre-planning. We're gonna do what we can beforehand, before students leave for June, but the vast majority of the work is gonna be done after school's let out at the end of June and then July.
Okay. Let's see, anything else? No, I think that's it, yeah. Oh, and just, actually, both of my children had Mr. Gordon. My daughter, 1 year, my son is in his 3rd year, and he would have loved to have a 4th year, but the confidence that especially my daughter got, being able to actually build something, that you can't do that without a class like that. It's an exceptional class. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We have a motion to close. Mr. Gallo, second by Mr. Copland. We are.
First official move.
Everyone else had their chance outside.
We are